Hello, my name is Eric Hypock, and I'm doing a speech entitled Love is the Greatest Commandment. In 1967, the Beatles made a simple yet powerful statement with these powerful words during the anti war movement. All you need is love, love is all you need. And even though I'm not an anti war protester, I still believe that these words are very powerful and true. In 2011, The Independent posted a blog that said 90% of Americans of different ages, sexes, and marital statuses all believe in true love. Every day when you go on the internet, it seems like there's a new site that tells you that you can find true love as long as you go to their website. You can go to Match.com, eHarmony.com, BlackSingles.com, FarmersOnly.com, Senior People Looking for Love, and even Gay.com to find the one true love that is out there for you. So, what is it about love that we crave? I mean, what is it that catches our attention and makes us want to have this or have to have this? Love has caused people to leave their families. Love has caused people to be disowned because they fell in love with someone their family didn't agree with. Love has caused people to commit crimes and even murder at times. So for my informative speech, I will be discussing one of Jesus' main commandments, which is love. And during this, I will use some of his teachings, as well as some of Apostle Paul's teachings, and also I will use some of my own testimony to describe what love has changed in me. If you're searching for true love, then let me tell you about the true love that I found. In chapter 12 of Mark, the religious leaders came up to Jesus and they were trying to trip him up. They were trying to prove that he really wasn't the Son of God. So they tried different ways to get him to stumble and fall. And after many failed attempts, they finally came up with this one question that they probably all sat around thinking, oh man, we finally got him. And they came up to him and they said, which is the greatest commandment out of all the commandments? And Jesus said, to love God with all your heart and to love your neighbors. When he said that, they cannot say anything, because what can you say to that? He answered every single commandment in the Bible based on those two statements, because that's what it's all about. This is not the only time that Jesus talked about love. He also talked about love in of course, in John 3:16, when it says, for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believes in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. He also tells us that we are to love our enemies. And how do you love your enemies? For me, that's something that would be hard for me to do. It's like, it's easy to love my family, it's easy to love, my friends, but it's how do you love your enemies? Basically, like John 3:16 says, for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that so whoever believes in him should not perish but have everlasting life. And if God can love me despite all the stuff I've done, then I can love my enemies, especially the ones that just say negative stuff against me. And Jesus is not the only person in the Bible that talked about love. The Apostle Paul mentioned love. His whole message was love as well. And before Paul became a Christian, his name was Saul, and his whole job was to go around, persecute the Christians and kill them. And he thought he was doing God's will, because he thought that they were not really followers of God, because they were preaching Christ. One day on the road to Damascus, he was walking and got blinded by this powerful light, and he knew it was God, and he's like, why are you persecuting me? And Jesus said, I am Jesus, the Son of God, and why are you persecuting my people? And at that point, he realized that he's been wrong this whole time, but yet he thought he was doing the right thing by punishing and killing other Christians. However, He realized at that point when Jesus encountered him that he really was not doing the right thing, and at that moment he became a believer in Christ, and he was actually blinded at that time. And so he went to the other disciples, and then of course they prayed over him, and he got his sight back. Because of what he did and the grace that he was given, his whole message was about love. Because how could you not love someone who loved you even though you were hurting his people? You know? And the 13th chapter of 1 Corinthians, it starts off, Paul saying, if I speak in tongues of angels or tongues of man, but do not have love, I'm just a noisy gong or a clanging cymbal. And if I know all the secrets that the universe holds, and if I know all the secrets that the world holds, and even if I can move mountains with my faith, but do not have love, I'm nothing. And he goes on and on for several different verses going in the same pattern. So pretty much he's saying, no matter what you do, or all the good you do, doesn't mean anything if you don't love other people. Later on, at the bottom of chapter 13 in 1 Corinthians, Paul also says, there's three things that remain: faith, hope, and love. And the greatest of these is love. So out of faith, hope, and love, the greatest commandment is to love. That's pretty simple to me. And last I'll be discussing my testimony, which is pretty much my whole life, all I cared about was falling in love. All my other friends, when they were little kids, they were dreaming about being the next Michael Jordan or Barry Sanders or, the next big wrestler or movie star. But all I wanted to do was find the woman of my dreams, get married, and have a family. Because of this, I made a lot of mistakes throughout my life because I thought every girl I dated was the right one because I wanted her to be the right one. I ended up getting a lot of hurt and pain and caused my family pain because I was trying to fall in love with the wrong people. And I even convinced myself at a young age that I was a Christian, even though I wasn't. And I could play the part perfectly. I acted like I knew everything. I knew the best Bible verse you could use. I knew all the worship songs, had all the Jesus t-shirts, what would Jesus do bracelets. I had it all. But I never had a relationship with God. So I still had all this anger and hurt inside of me, trying to tell other people about the love of God, but I couldn't because I didn't have it myself. When about 15 years ago, I was driving to work at Walmart, and I was listening to a worship station, and I just felt this overwhelming presence of depression. And I didn't know what it was because at that time I convinced myself that I was already a Christian, and I didn't know what it was. And I started praying. I asked God, I said, why do I feel like I'm not saved? And he said, clear as day, because you're not. And he reminded me that when I went up to the front at different camps and stuff, I never prayed the prayer. I just went up there, and then I was daydreaming about whatever, and then went away. But I never actually accepted him. So right then and there in Walmart parking lot, before my shift started, is when I asked Jesus to come into my life and change my heart. At that moment, I felt what true love was. Before then, I didn't know what it was. And after that, all that hurt and pain that I had went away. And I was able to love people the way that God loved me. And in closing, I would like to say this whole message of the gospel of Christ is to love God with all your heart, to love each other, and out of faith, hope, and love, the greatest of these is love. So in the words of the Beatles, all you need is love. Love is all you need. Thank you.